Oops, I don't know why it's over there.
I'm Abby from Ratings.com. For those new to the loop, we're running 100 TV models for an average of 18 hours a day to simulate 10 years of
Oh
usage
yeah,
in
Baby
just
Driver.
2
Yeah,
years.
it kind of
We're
is like
testing
the perfect role for
reliability of
Kevin
TVs by
Spacey, huh?
running them to the limit. At this point, we're 4 months into our 2-year test, clocking in about a year's worth of usage. In this video, we'll go over the results we've gotten so far, including the
I love how they're
burn-in
doing
on our
like
2D
hard mode
OLEDs,
testing by having
differences
CNN
between
on.
LG and Sony OLEDs, and failures on 4 TVs, including some high-end models. We'll get into all this and more, so stick around.
I love this website, man. I love Artings.
This longevity test is our biggest test to date, with a lot of moving parts involved. We've got 100
I wonder how much
TVs
power
attached to
it
Raspberry
costs to
Pis,
keep all these
connected
TVs
to
running.
a centralized controller.
It's
This
probably pretty
controller is
expensive, huh?
cloud-based and gives us the freedom to stream whatever content we want to whatever TV we choose to stream to. It also lets us
All for
cycle the
basically one
TVs
video.
on and off on a fixed schedule to replicate normal usage and the thermal stresses associated with it. We're using this controller to stream CNN since we're also looking at OLED burn-in within this test.
Your friend has news
We've
burning
learned
on
a
her
lot about
screens?
OLED
Does she
burn-in
actually
from
watch the
our
news that
users,
much?
But we wanted to expand and investigate to see how OLEDs perform.
Or is it
across
because
a
like her
wider
parents
pool
are
of
watching
products
TV?
while still making
Like
the
what
results of this test
what person
comparable
under
to
the age of like 50
The
now like
benefit of
sits
CNN
around
is
watching
its
CNN?
bright, static white
Like, I don't think
elements
anyone.
and bright red elements. Two
Right?
factors that contribute heavily to
She leaves it on all day
image
for a dog? Well,
retention.
don't put on the
So, with
news,
that in
dude.
mind, let's jump into
Put
the
on
actual
something
results
else.
we've gathered so
At this
far.
point, put on an
Take a picture on the
anti-burn-in
left
thing.
and compare it to the picture on the right. No, they aren't the same picture. They're uniformity slides from 2 different TVs on the test, a QD OLED and a WOLED.
Yeah, after this video, I'm like, there's no way I would ever get a quantum dot OLED.
Going so far that LG Display used
Watch
them
the
to
news
take
all day. I know,
advantage
my
of
father-in-law's the
Display's
same way.
2D OLED
My mom's the
technology.
same way.
So, is
They're both over
LG
50.
onto
They're all over
something
50.
with that claim? Is QD OLED truly worse than WOLED? Well, the answer is maybe. Right out of the gate, our QD OLED models in our test were showing signs of significant image retention. You can basically read the words breaking news and the outlines.
Yeah, you
of the
gotta be real
characters
careful
are
with
clearly
like red,
defined.
green,
These
or
images are
blue
from two
primary
TVs,
colors
the
because you'll
Samsung
burn out that
S95P
pixel.
and Sony A95K.
If it's a
But
mix
to
of
answer
those,
why
it's not
these
as bad,
TVs
or at
look
least
so
it's not
bad,
as noticeable.
we first had to figure out
But if
whether
you're
the
using a
quantum
red, green, or
images were
blue
permanently
like as your
burnt in
logo, like
or
it's gonna
lingering
mess
image
it up.
retention that we could remove. We switched the TVs in question off from the CNN live feed and instead put them into a sort of TV rehab mode. They still followed the same on-off schedule, but instead of being
Whenever you
scaled
mention she has
to
no idea what you're
CNN,
talking
we
about.
played a series of uniformity slides, which are designed to remove temporary image retention.
I've spoken to people
stimulating the
before and they've
thin
told
film
me they couldn't tell the
transistors that
difference
power the
between
OLEDs. We've already ran
standard
these slides
definition
on
and
the
high
32X
definition.
Sony
When like,
A90K
remember
to
there was that
see
weird
impact.
transitional
And you
phase
can
with
see the clear
TV when
effect
they were
these
going
uniformity
from
slides
like
have had at
standard
removing
definition to
image
high
retention
definition.
after running them for 144 hours or 2 weeks.
They couldn't tell the
Unfortunately,
difference. They're like, it's the
regardless of
same.
downtime away from the test,
And I'm like, you're
the
crazy.
ghostly outline
Now, like
of
once you
the
get up to like
OLED
1080p, like it's
no matter
really
what
hard to
we
tell.
CNN persisted, leading us to conclude that the Sony A95K.
Like when I
and
play a
Samsung
video game, like I can tell if it's
S95P were
1440p or
likely
4K,
suffering
but
from
other than that, I
burn-in.
really can't tell.
But why? Our best guess stemmed from a small observation. See, there is a fundamental difference between QD OLED and WOLED technology. The QD OLEDs have a specialized layer that's called the quantum dot layer that's responsible for emitting all the color you see on the
But
screen.
it doesn't have a white
That's what the
pixel.
QD in QD OLED stands for.
So if it needs white, it's gotta
The WOLEDs
play
don't
everything at
have
the
this
same
layer.
time.
Instead, they use color filters overlaid on each colored subpixel. To show you what I mean, we're gonna jump on down to the quantum dot
10-year
layer.
plan.
Here
You
we have
said
the
you upgrade
subpixels
every
of the
day.
Sony A95K, a QD OLED. We're looking right at the quantum dot layer. You can see each of these subpixels lighting up to display the color on the screen. We're using uniformity slides here, so it's just a single color at a time so you can see the effect. So when we display a blue slide, you can clearly see the blue subpixels.
This is kind of a neat test, right?
green,
Literally
red,
just
and
see the
so on.
pixels.
You can even see the combinations of subpixels working together to display colors like purple, yellow, and green. And also white. But we'll get back to this in a second. We're gonna stay here in the subpixel realm and move on over to the
Oh, shoot.
LGA1.
What the hell?
you'll already notice there's a key difference here. There's a new player in town. See that bright white square? That's the white subpixel. And if the quantum dot layer...
Why was I
is
showing up,
QD in
but not
QD
showing
OLED,
up?
then the white subpixel is the W in WOLED.
What the hell?
Each subpixel in a WOLED has its own OLED backlight.
I don't know,
and film
man.
over top to ensure
I don't
that
know
the
what's
colors
going on,
display.
dude.
You can see the colors change, showing the blue subpixel, the green, the red, and all the combinations.
Oh,
But this white subpixel seems to be present.
I had a
in
chroma key on for
shining
some
its
reason.
brightest when displaying a white slide. We'll pause here on that white slide. It's pretty straightforward for the white
Oh,
subpixel.
and I'm a
just lets the
professional
light shine
streamer.
on through. But as we saw earlier, the QD OLED needs all three of those subpixels working to display white. If we
That's
circle back
unreal,
to the
man.
brilliant images, you'll see that the most degraded areas on the QD
I can't
OLEDs
be
were also the
sponge. I
ones
can't do it
displaying
right now.
static white content.
I'm in my
What
retirement.
does
I
this
can't gape
all
like I
mean?
used to.
Well, given these observations, it seems that the QD OLEDs were showing more burn-in because they lacked...
I'm going to the
subpixel
dentist
coverage.
tomorrow, though, so I'm going to
It's a
have to
lot
do
of
that.
heavy lifting to display bright white content. LG Display was quick to act.
I see no reason to get a Sony. I see no reason to get any quantum dot
The
TV.
lack of a white subpixel meant that the QD OLED technology found in certain Samsung displays.
I
and Sony
believe the
models was
LG
more prone to burn-in than the OLED
propaganda.
panels they're famous for making. And this is technically true. I mean, they cited our images as proof, but they're lacking some important context that they could have had if they reached out to us first. We'd like to clarify something here. Our test is designed to cause TVs to have issues at a much
How is he
faster rate than they
gaslighting you?
normally would.
Well,
But
if,
with
unless
that in
he's
mind,
buying it
our
for you, he
early
could
results
shut the hell
indicate
up.
that QD OLED panels could burn in significantly faster while
Unless you were
displaying
saving
static
money.
white content, since they lack the white subpixel found in WOLED models. This shouldn't impact normal TV usage, but it could be more problematic if you use your TV along with your PC. Normal TV usage won't have as much static white content since most people will play games or watch movies or even listen to tunes. But PC use is a different story. It entails a bunch of bright, white, static elements, which can be a problem since QD OLED panels aren't found in just TVs. They're also found in monitors.
Oh
These
no.
monitors tend to be
Real?
designed for gaming. They're still used for general productivity on the computer. So they might be designed to deal with this potential burn-in problem. We don't know whether this is the case, so we're adding 2 QD OLED monitors to the longevity test.
Nah,
This
man.
month, the
WOLED all the
Alienware
way.
AW3423DWF and the Samsung Odyssey OLED G8 will join the longevity test, so we can figure out whether they can better prevent the burn-in from static white elements. We plan
If I put
to
a
make
fighting
them
game on my
operable
list,
to
what
our
would I
TVs
pick?
to help us determine whether what we've seen with QD OLEDs
Either
is true
Street
across
Fighter 3
multiple
Third Strike
applications of the technology.
or
To make
Garou
sure
Mark
you're
of
in
the
loop
Wolves.
with these further investigations, don't forget to hit that subscribe
I think
button
she's
and
great.
follow us
She's
on
a great
social.
host.
Another interesting observation we've made so far relates to the differences between brands. The Sony OLEDs display much more image retention.
Garou Mark of
than
the
the
Wolves
LG
has
OLEDs. As you can
a
see,
character
this
named
is
Butt.
true across all Sony models we have on the test. Now, we learned early in the test that Sony OLEDs receive less compensation cycles than LG OLEDs due to their implementation. Sony doesn't start the compensation cycle until the TVs have been
You ever
on
heard of
for
it? It's pretty
4
good.
hours, whereas LG starts
It's
the
old.
cycle as
It's a
soon
boomer
as the
game. It
TV
was
is
released
shut off.
around
This
2000,
means that
probably.
throughout the course of a week, the Sony models receive
Between
3
2000 and
cycles, while the
2002,
LGs receive
2003.
21.
I played it on the
But is
Dreamcast.
this difference in compensation cycles a limitation
That's where
of
I
the
played
test
it.
that meant we
I had a
couldn't
lot of fighting
extrapolate our
games on the
findings to
Dreamcast.
real-life usage? To find out, we tested an LG OLED, the 48-inch LG C1 that wasn't originally included in the 100 TVs. It ran 3 compensation cycles per week to make it comparable to the Sony cycles. And what we found was illuminating. Even running 3
The SNK
compensation
games
cycles
hit
a
different.
week,
Like, I feel like
LG
it's
still
easier to
had
get
less image
into,
retention than the Sony.
like, the Street Fighter
From this
games,
subtest,
definitely.
we can conclude that with
But there's
extreme
definitely
rigor,
something to the
LG
SNK
OLEDs fare
games that
better
are
than
really
Sony
fun.
as far as early
I'm excited
onset
for
burn-in
Mantite
is
season.
concerned.
It's cold, man. I have socks on right now, but I should be really wearing my
We
tights.
doubt that in real life this difference will matter for consumers. We've certainly spent a lot of time talking about burn-in and not a lot of time talking about burning, which is what our Hisense U7
Yo, the
did
Hisense
on
caught
the
on
first
fire!
official fatality of the test on January 23rd. A faulty connection between the power supply and backlighting caused a wire to heat up and progressively fail until it looked like this. With a wire that good looking, the power no longer went to the LED backlighting, causing them to completely shut off. Thanks to the skillful work of our top TV surgeon Pascal, the U7G is now repaired with a replaced wire, power supply, and LED driver board. We're happy to announce it went back on the test on March 7th. While this was the first TV we officially removed from the test to open up and examine, 2 other TVs had issues much earlier.
I mean, if you're buying Hisense, you're not buying it for the quality.
X95J started showing signs
Yo,
of screen deterioration.
my uncle? All right, he's retired. He's in his mid-70s. He spends probably 6 to 8 hours a day watching TV. All right, considerable amount of time. And like, as much as I tried to convince him, I said, dude, it's a little expensive, but you're on it all the time. Spend $1,000. Just get a nice LG OLED and like enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I know you've got the money saved up. You never go anywhere. You never do anything. You don't eat out. You do nothing, but you spend 8 hours a day watching your TV. Nope. Wanted to get like the $200, what was it? Like a Hisense or something? It was like a $200 like Hisense Google TV. And he got it. And he's like, yeah, I don't really like the colors. I'm like, return it. Please return it. You've seen it. It sucks. It's not worth having. Nope. And now he's just like, someday I'll get a better TV and I'll move this one upstairs. No, he's going to keep it for like another 5 years.
Just 3 weeks into the test. The screen started displaying a lightened box, which has now grown to take over about 1/3 of the screen area, causing severe uniformity.
It'd be one thing if, like, you know, you're on a budget, you're still in your working years, maybe you're trying to save up for a house or a car or a wedding or something. Bro's retired. He just thinks like, why would I spend more than $200 when I could get it for $200? And then you just sit there suffering.
Our most recent
watching this ass tier TV.
The subject of inquiry, which is awfully convenient. Earlier this month, on March 6th, the Samsung S95B
now get yourself a nice 55-inch LG C2 OLED.
Capture this on our security camera, and you can see it at the bottom left of the screen. We're not certain why it died, but we strongly suspect it's an issue with the power supply.
Yeah, Samsung TV died too. LG's looking real good after all this testing.
And have ordered replacement parts to try and fix the TV. As you can see, this test has been quite fruitful in opening up new side quests for investigation.
She's great, man.
We anticipate there will only be more roads less traveled for us. Our end goal isn't to tell
I did get one Vizio, and while it hasn't been bad, it has not been great. It was one of their better series. It was when they were trying to get into like
unit of each model, we can't use our findings as conclusive data
making like a higher end Vizio TV, which I know sounds like an oxymoron. And it has like dimmable sections, but it never got to OLED levels, and I regret not getting an OLED.
We do here sounds interesting.
Used to have a TV, VHS Zenith TV, nice. This is Arding's. This is the Arding's YouTube channel. Amazon TVs? Are those real? Amazon TV, $130 32-inch TV? I mean, if you don't mind them, like, listening to you and collecting all of your information all day long.
Until next time, I'm Abby from Ratings.com, where we help
Thanks,
you
Abby.
find the best product.
What a great video. I want to watch this video.
I'm Abby from Ratings.com.
When is this
We've
from?
designed a new test as part of our TV test bench. one that allows us to assess upscaling and
I think I
sharpen image
linked and
processing
commented on the
in a
previous
much
video,
more
B
helpful
Sponge.
way
I think
than
I said I
originally.
love artings, and I
Instead of
think this
every
was a great
TV
video,
getting a score
Abby.
of 8.0 for upscaling a 480p image, like a lot of you have pointed out over the years, we now have scores for upscaling that actually reflect the image quality
I think she's
and
great.
performance. At the moment, we've updated 24 TVs to this new test, and we have another 49 planned. And that's on top of testing new products and, of course, maintaining our longevity test.
In this video, we'll walk you through this new test, how we created it, and look at our results so far to see which model and brands are better than the others. You can also compare the results yourself and make your own judgment by looking at the photos we took on our website.
Our original test was part of the TV test bench since 2017, which in tech years isn't just old, but practically
That's a
medieval.
long time.
Over the course of those years, not only has TV processing changed and improved, but so has the understanding of what upscaling actually is. While the intention of the original test was to determine whether a TV could display a good-looking image at 4 common resolutions, over the years, a larger snag became apparent. There was too much variance in the image and no way of quantifying it. Across the multiple
How do
models
you
of
quantify
TVs,
it?
there are multiple ways of processing an image.
Can
Some
you, like,
TVs
will you take a
blur,
picture
some
and compare it to the
sharpen,
original?
and
Oh, that's
others do
bad.
Whatever this is.
Ew.
The problem was that we were never really measuring the TV's upscaling performance, which isn't helpful for anyone. Thankfully, this new upscaling test allows us to quantify these differences. But how does that help you? Well, the test can tell you 2 things about
Her
a TV.
face, like,
First,
turned into
if
a
it can
pixel.
Scale up a low-resolution image. This initial step is something we generally take for granted. Consider it this way. Most TVs on the market are 4K models, but a significant amount of content on streaming
Like, almost
platforms
everything we watch is
1080p.
1080p.
You don't really notice that the content isn't 4K. Even when you put 1080p and 4K content side by side, it's hard to tell the difference, which poses a measurement problem for us. Now, with a lower quality signal, like 480p, the TV's scaling algorithm has to make more guesses on how to upscale the content. About 7,948,800 more guesses to be exact.
Oh, it's a big number.
For the enthusiast crowd. We're not after what scaling algorithm the TV's using to make these guesses. That's much too difficult to assess, especially with processing features enabled and differences between picture modes. Instead, we're looking at what the TV does after upscaling the image. The recreated details and overall image clarity can indicate the TV's ability to fill in those pixels with good guesses. To start, we use a 480p DVD of a Spears and Munsell calibration pattern to set our sharpness level.
Is that what they call
The
that?
sharpness point is the highest setting we can achieve before artifacts lower the image quality. Most people probably won't touch this slider, let alone set it up this high. But even if you prefer a softer image, your TV is still running these processes. You just won't notice the differences as much. After calibration, we play a standardized boat video, also in 480p. This boat floats across the screen, a design feature to replicate real content. We noticed that noise reduction algorithms kick in only in motion, so we decided to apply that logic to this test to make sure that any AI upscaling processes are active. Plus, the constant motion keeps the screen from dimming, which is great because we need the white square up in the corner to make sure our camera settings are consistent across photos so you can compare them. This boat video has plenty of great
I don't
areas
like it
of
when
visual
TVs
detail.
automatically dim.
When
Apparently on an
evaluating
LG
images, we can
TV,
look
if you
at a
want to
few
turn
of
that
these
off, you do
specific
need like a
areas.
service remote.
In the background, the shrub line
I know
and
it'll
the
probably
shovels
kill
on
it
the roof
faster,
are
but
good
I kind of
indicators
hate
of
that.
how well the TV reconstructs detail. TVs that are better at upscaling will make
Some
better
tablets were
distinctions
really
between the
aggressive about
shingles on the
automatically
roof
dimming.
and the
I hated
foliage
that
on the
too.
shrubs. We also look at the severity of contrast boosting artifacts. Sharpness algorithms tend to boost the sharpness by boosting the contrast. This is more noticeable with TVs that are worse at upscaling.
Yeah,
since
the auto,
they
I don't
often
like it.
just plot
Not a fan of
really
it.
dark spot next to a bright spot, or a light spot next to a dark hard edge. Areas with text are the best to see this, especially the black ratings logo at the
There's
bottom.
a setting to turn it off.
And of
Apparently it still
course,
does it
there's
a
the
little bit.
overall image clarity.
But
Essentially, we're
I will
comparing
see. I mean,
this
we'll see whenever
480p
when I do
version
my
the TV
upgrades.
has upscaled to the reference photo shown here. A TV that can accurately recreate the reference photo would score a 10. But at this point, the tech isn't quite there yet, so 9.0 is the best we've seen. And what does a 9.0 look like? Well, that would be the Sony A95K, or the X90K, or the A90K, or A95K. Basically any high-end Sony. But we'll focus on the X95K since the OLEDs are a little preoccupied right now. Right from the calibration, the Sony shows its capabilities. With the sharpness all the way up, the TV creates white lines that aren't in the actual image.
Yeah, that's bad.
Conjures them up from nowhere. Now, these white
Sony,
lines are
you
considered
suck.
artifacts since they do go
We're
away
watching a
as you
video
lower the
about
sharpness.
TV
What's
upscaling.
important about those lines is how natural they look. Upscaling is meant to be a hidden process, so you really shouldn't notice when a TV is doing it. That these white lines run parallel
That's
to the actual
bad.
black lines means you probably wouldn't think, those shouldn't be there, but instead wonder if the other TVs were just missing them in the first place. How this translates to our test and further into
We'll probably
real
pee
content
soon.
is that
I
the
got a
black
gold
details
crown
are
gyros, I
seamless.
think.
Take a look yourself at those pixel peeping areas, and you'll see that the shingles are shingles. Foliage.
Zany, there's something worse than fake
In real
sharpness on
content, they
TVs,
aren't
and that's
blobby
when
artifacts that actively stand out in the picture,
people have the motion
very
interpolation
detectable
on.
and contribute
Oh
to
my
the
god,
impression
I've got an
of the scene since
in-law,
it has added detail.
and he likes
Zendaya's
it.
hair, the windows in the background, all have a
And the
good
worst
amount of
part
detail
is, like,
created. This is
He's,
what the image
you
looks
know,
like
he's
at
pretty
480p.
well-to-do. He's in the
But
stock
even
market,
if
like
you
he's
input a
relatively
higher
well off.
resolution like 720p,
And I'm like,
these results
you
are
have
still true,
money.
just less
You should have
detail.
more sense than
Less
this.
detail
Why does your
makes the
TV
picture
look like
look
shit?
And the Sony's image
What does it do?
processing
It adds
really shines.
frames that
It's
aren't
really
there.
emphasized
Like
how
in video
good the look
games,
is.
DLSS
We'll take a
frame
look at the
generation
worst.
is okay
The
because it looks like a
TCL
video
6
game.
Series 6
Everything else looks like soap
2022
opera.
QLED has the opposite effect. The artifacts added here aren't seamless. They're blobby.
You know,
and
Spider-Man
patchy.
should really be
The
taking care of her.
windows in the
She's like,
Spider-Man scene
she
are
could
now
fall.
defined by blotches of white meant to boost the contrast. Zendaya's hair is a cluster of brown pixels instead of differentiated strands. Hence, the TCL 6 series scores a 3.0 for its upscaling and sharpness processing. That's the high and low of it. But what about the middle? For most things, the LG C2 is one of our most recommended TVs. But for upscaling, its performance is only alright. When upscaling from 480p, the C2 tends to soften the image. And as you can see, the contrast boosting reduces
I mean,
the
I'm
amount
okay
of
with it
detail.
softer. I just don't like it
For
when it
example,
generates
when
new
you
images.
look in the background of the boat video, the shrubs are splotchy, and the siding on the house is
We're
reduced
looking
to
at
one
videos on
big
how to
white
make Zendaya
rectangle
look as good
instead
as
of
possible when you're
individual
upscaling a
siding
480p
pieces.
image.
In the Spider-Man scene, the same is true. Zendaya's hair clusters up, the detail in the rusty parts of the beams is lost around the edges, but most noticeably, the image looks softer overall. For the most part, upscaling performance is linked to the processor inside the TV, which is a combination of brand and price. In this test, the brand matters much more than the price.
I mean,
The
it's like
high-end
literally
Sony
getting
models with the
gaslit by your
Broadway
TV,
XR
be
processor
sponged.
all outperform the lower-end models with the X1 processor, like the Sony X75K. In turn, the Sony X75K outperforms flagship models from LG and most other models from Hisense, Vizio, and Amazon. The LG OLEDs with the
Shocking.
high-end processors like the C2 outperform the lower-end models like the QNED 90. However, these models are beat out by non-LG budget TVs like the Hisense U6H, which
No
actually
way.
upscales pretty well. As a
Shut up.
personal
That doesn't
aside,
mean you should get the
that's
Hisense,
great,
though.
because my Hisense is constantly upscaling since I forgot to upgrade my internet plan after graduating. But Samsung represents an interesting edge case here to our test. Their TVs look the same. What we've found so far is that the low-end Q60B looks just as good as the QN900B, which is interesting given that the QN900B
Why are we hating on
is an
Hisense?
8K
They
model
just showed
that
off a
we expect
Hisense
to
TV that
perform
had caught
much
on
better.
fire.
Even with different
Because it
pixel
had a
modes,
bad power
sharpness
cord or
settings,
bad
and
power
features
supply.
enabled, the sharpness processing seems to be pretty identical across models. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, all of them upscale well. And you'll notice even comparing the Samsungs to the Sonys, the
I don't care.
differences
I'm
are
LG
minute.
pilled anyways. Let's go play the P game. Stupid Monster Hunter. I don't want to play that game. What did I get? We got a Gyro. I know we got a Gyros. Yep. We were also going for... No, we weren't doing Tigers. Fulgur? Nope. Acidic? No. It was those three, right? this game anymore. We're almost MR999. We got there without even, like, grinding quests for, like, getting 999. Nefudis is pinging right now.